Welcome back. John and Kendra Smiley are joining us with our weekly dose of parenting advice. Shall we dive right into the question?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, this parent wrote in, my 9-year-old son has been sharing a bedroom with his 7-year-old sister. The only other option is for him to share a room with his 3-year-old brother. Would you recommend putting the boys together? What do you think?
Yes, I think we'd recommend that, absolutely. The age difference, the 9-year-old son and the 3-year-old son, isn't that dramatic as it is keeping the two together. They obviously have the room because they have the boys separated, and so I think this is a time. By the time you're a 9-year-old boy, you know, the gender difference, and a 7-year-old girl, the gender differences are starting to show more, and so a little more privacy for the girl, and we girls do like our privacy whenever possible. I think it would be a good idea to split the boy and girl up and put the boys together.
Right, and I think there are some things that as they do this, putting the 3-year-old with the 9-year-old, those two brothers together, that they need to think about. They shouldn't penalize the 9-year-old because the 3-year-old, obviously they have different bedtimes. The 9-year-old has homework and has study time and that type of thing. There's one thing that bedtime's another thing that obviously the 3-year-old is going to go to bed earlier than the 9-year-old. So all those things you need to think about. There's another thing that we need to consider here with the age differences of the two boys, and that is that you can actually divide. You don't have to have a permanent divider, but you can put a divider in the room and say, okay, the 3-year-old, you have this part of the room for your toys, this part of the room for the 9-year-old. And the other thing I think for these parents to consider is the 3-year-old is old enough to understand rules. Right. And so you set the two boys down and you talk to that 3-year-old and you tell that 3-year-old, this is your 9-year-old brother's desk. Leave things alone on the desk. And I don't think these parents should think, well, he's only 3, he doesn't understand. Yes, he does understand, and yes, he can follow rules. And so, yes, these two boys can be together, but they can have some distinct areas because they are 9 and 3. Right. And I think that's definitely something to consider.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I actually know of a family where two girls that were quite a bit of age difference shared the room, and they literally let the girls each pick the color they wanted for their room. It was not the same color, and one girl's room was sort of a nice pale blue and the other's was sort of a purple, and they literally went to the halfway mark, and it was just a way that they each know they each felt like they had their own space.
Right.
And there's one other thing about this is it is a little bit more difficult for girls of different ages to be together than it is for boys. It's not that big of a deal.
So that
for
gender plays a role in it.
Yeah, there is a little bit. If you were putting two girls together that were different in age, it might be a little bit more considerate. Boys, it's not that,
3 and 9.
Yeah, it's really, you know,
21 and 17.
Right,
if you set up the rules right at the beginning, it's really not that big of a deal.
All right, great advice as always. And if you have a question for the Smileys, shoot it over to their website, parentinglikeapro.com. And if we answer it here on the show, you'll get a free copy of one of their books. Thanks so much.
Thank you.